Hello viewers, this is Ronald taking you through today's tutorial, and in this video we're going to talk about solutions to O-level math paper 1 for the year 2019, and in particular we're going to talk about questions 16 and 17. So these are the value questions I left in the previous video, and I believe by now you have already tried them out. That was question 16 and question 17 was that. So I left two questions, 16 and 17, and I believe by now you have already tried them out, and we are now going to go through the corrections so that you can also mark yourself wherever you are. We are going to start with question 16. Question 16 said, a triangle ABC with vertices A, which is negative 4, 2, B, which is negative 5, 5, and C, which is negative 1, 4, is mapped onto triangle A prime, B prime, C prime by a transformation matrix T, capital T, which is equal to 1, 0, 1, negative 1, 0. The triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is mapped onto triangle A double prime, B double prime, C double prime by another transformation capital M, which is negative 1, negative 2, 0, 0, negative 2. Part A, determine the coordinates of the vertices Roman 1, A prime, B prime, and C prime. Then Roman 2, A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So those are 4 marks, I think. Let us first start with part A, Roman 1 and Roman 2. So part A, Roman 1, remember we are given a transformation matrix this, therefore we shall have to multiply this by this using the correct order of matrices. So we shall start with the transformation matrix followed by the coordinates. So this is coordinates for A, coordinates for B, coordinates for C, but don't again put here, most students have a tendency of putting here A, B, C. That makes it wrong when we are marking, so don't put them there, just leave it as it is. Now remember, in multiplication of matrices, multiply row by column. Therefore 2 by negative 4, sorry, 0 multiplied by negative 4 will give you 0 plus 1 multiplied by 2 will give you 2. Therefore 0 plus 2 will give you 2, which is that. Then go to this one, negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4, 0 times 2 is 0, therefore positive 4 plus 2 plus 0 will give you 4, which is that. Those are the coordinates for A. Now let's go to coordinates of B. Do the same, row by column. So 0 times negative 5 is 0, 1 times 5 is 5, therefore 0 plus 5 will give you 5, which is that. Then here, negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5, 0 times 5 is 0, so positive 5 plus 0 will give you positive 5. Then now go, those are the coordinates for B. Now for C, 0 times negative 1 is 0, 1 times 4 is 4, therefore 0 plus 4 will give you 4, which is that. Then also negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, and 0 times 4 will be 0, so that therefore 1 plus 0 will give you 1. Therefore the coordinates of A prime, B prime, and C prime are those ones. Now we shall go to part B. Part B, there is Roman 2, they wanted the coordinates of A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. But remember, this A prime, B prime, C prime is under a transformation of negative 2, 0, 2, 0, negative 2 to give you A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So you have to again multiply and say this matrix capital M by these coordinates of A prime, B prime, and C prime, which is that. So do the same, row by column. So negative 2 times 2 will give you negative 2, then 0 times 4 will give you 0, therefore negative 4 plus 0 will become negative 4. Then for the lower part, 0 times 2 is 0, then negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Therefore 0 plus negative 8 will be negative 8. Those are the coordinates for A double prime. Now for B double prime, negative 2 times 5 will give you negative 10. 0 times 5 will give you 0. Therefore negative 10 plus 0 will give you negative 10. Then 0 times 5 is 0, and negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Therefore 0 plus negative 10 will be negative 10. Those are coordinates for B double prime. Then negative 2 times 4 will give you negative 8. Then 0 times 1 will give you 0. Therefore negative 8 plus 0 will give you negative 8. 0 times 4 is 0. Then negative 2 times 1 is negative 2. Therefore 0 plus negative 2 will give you negative 2. Therefore the coordinates of A double prime are those, B double prime are those, and C double prime are those. I think that's what they wanted in part A. Now let's see how marks can be awarded. So the first mark is for this multiplication using the correct order. Then this one is expressing these values in coordinate form. Then this one also multiplication is correct order and expressing the coordinates in coordinate form. So basically those are the 4 marks they wanted in part A. So now we shall go to part B. Part B said, on the same axis draw the triangles ABC, A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So let us go through this solution. But previously we already know that coordinates of A, B and C are these ones. Then A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So we are going to plot all those points. Let's see the procedure. First of all, you have to be with a graph paper. Then next, after having a graph paper, you have to put there the axes, vertical and horizontal, and also label the axis, x-axis, y-axis. Next, you have to demarcate, leaving intervals of 1 centimeter on the horizontal, as you can see here. So when you are done with that, do the same for the vertical axis. Label for the axis, leaving 1 centimeter interval. Okay, now that is done, we are going to fill in those demarcations. So we shall start with the horizontal axis, which is that. So the horizontal axis is done. You do the same for the vertical axis. Okay, so now we have finished drawing the axes and filling in our demarcations. So next will be to plot. First of all, you have to remember, we are going to first plot triangle ABC. These are the coordinates for ABC. So we are going to plot negative 4, 2, negative 5, 5, negative 1, 4, and join them using a ruler. Let's see how this is done. So there are the coordinates of A, B, and C, and they are joined using a ruler. Now next will be to also plot A prime, B prime, and C prime. So we are going to plot 2, 4, 5, 5, and 4, 1, and join them using a ruler. Let's see how that is done. So that is our A prime, B prime, and C prime. And next will be plotting A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So we are going to plot negative 4, negative 8, negative 10, negative 10, and negative 8, negative 2. Let's see how that is done. So that is A prime, A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime, and I've joined them using a ruler. So basically I think that was part B, where they said that on the same axis draw triangles A, B, C, A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So by now we have already got ourselves 8 marks. Now we are left with these 4 marks for part C. Now part C says, describe fully the transformation represented by Roman 1 capital T and Roman 2 capital M. So let's start with capital T, which was the transformation from ABC to A prime, B prime, and C prime. So the transformation may be either a rotation, reflection, or an enlargement. But here it cannot be reflection, because if it was reflection, you would see here A would be at this point so that they are opposite each other and equidistant. So reflection is off. What about enlargement? For enlargement, you have to first join this. To know that's enlargement or rotation, you have to join corresponding points. So we are going to join A to A prime and also B to B prime and see if they intersect. So in this case, they don't intersect. If they intersect, it would mean that there was an enlargement of a certain scale factor. But now, since they don't intersect, it means there must be a rotation. Now, for you to get the rotation, you have to get the bisectors. So get perpendicular bisector of BB prime, which is that. So you put our compass here, draw this arc. Put the compass here, draw that arc. I think you can see that where they intersect, you draw a straight line. So in this case, our y-axis is our bisector for B prime. We are going to do the same for A prime. So let's try to bisect. So you put your compass here, you draw this arc. Put your compass here, draw that arc. Then draw a straight line through the intersection. So where these two lines intersect, where this line and this line intersect, will be our center of rotation. So in this case, the center of rotation is the origin, which is 0, 0. But we also have to get the angle of rotation. How do you get the angle of rotation? The angle of rotation is got by joining. For example, I can use points A and A prime. If I use A and A prime, it means I'm going to join A to the origin, to the center of rotation, and also from the center of rotation I draw another line to join to meet the A prime. Now the angle between there will be our angle of rotation. So this is the line joining from A to origin and from origin to A prime. Now when I measure this angle using a protractor, it will be 90 degrees. Now because it is 90 degrees, and it will mean that there was a rotation of 90 degrees. But the question is the rotation positive or negative? Now for you to know that it's positive or negative, you have to remember that for positive rotation, it has to be in a clockwise sense. For negative rotation, it has to be in an anti-clockwise sense. Now in this case, our angle of rotation is in a clockwise sense, because A is here and A prime is here. Therefore it is from A to A prime, which is the image to which is in the clockwise sense. Therefore we shall now describe our transformation of T as that T represents a positive rotation of 90 degrees about center 0, 0. Now let's go to Roman 2. Roman 2 say, describe fully the transformation represented by capital M. Now capital M is the transformation from A prime, B prime, C prime to A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. So still you have to know that this is not a reflection. Therefore, for you to know that's a rotation or an enlargement, you have to draw two lines. We shall draw a line intersect from A prime to A double prime, and also from C prime to C double prime, and see if there is if they intersect, it means it is an enlargement. If not, it will be a rotation. So when I draw that lines, that's what I'll get. So they intersect, meaning it's an enlargement, and they intersect at the origin 0, 0, meaning this 0, 0 will be the center of enlargement. Now for you to know by what scale factor, you have to measure this distance from here to here. So you get your compass, get your divider, put your need one point here, another point here, then after that transfer it to your ruler and see that distance. After that, do the same, get your compass, your divider still, put one needle point here, another point here, transfer that distance to the ruler and measure that distance. You will realize that this distance from C double prime to the origin is twice the distance from the origin to C prime, meaning that there is a scale factor of 2. But now the question is it positive or negative? So how do you know that it's positive or negative? If the center of enlargement is in between the two figures, it means that it is a negative. If it is outside the two figures, it means it is positive. So in our case, we shall come and conclude that M represents an enlargement of scale factor -2 and center of enlargement 0, 0. So now let's see how marks can be awarded. So yeah, first of all, you have to draw these axes using a long ruler. Some of you have a tendency of using a short ruler and break up this line. It shouldn't be broken at any point. So endeavor to use a long ruler to draw those axes and label them x-axis, y-axis. When you do that, you get yourself that 1 mark. Then 2 was to plot triangle ABC. Remember the coordinates were already given, so when you plot this triangle, you'll come up with that mark. Next is draw the triangle A prime, B prime, and C prime. So that's where the 3rd mark comes from. Then the other mark is to plot this triangle A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. Now the next is M1. This M1 is attempting to find T. So all these we did to join this line B prime, B to B prime, A to A prime, and also these bisectors. That's where this M1 is coming from, because we are attempting to find this transformation which was asked. Then A1 is to describe your transformation. So this description gives you that A1. Now M1 is attempting to find capital M. So for you to draw these dotted lines here from A double prime to A prime and C double prime to C prime, it means you are attempting to find that matrix of transforming this to this. Therefore, that's where this M1 is coming from. Now the A1 is for description. So writing this description is where that A1 is coming from. So I believe you already marked yourself, and if you got 12 out of 12, good for you. And if not, you can make the corrections. So now we shall go to question 17. Question 17 says, a school has organized a geography study tour of 90 students. 2 types of vehicles are needed, taxis and coaster buses. The maximum capacity of the taxi is 15. So you should note every word that is spoken here, because it is going to help us. Is 15 passengers, while that of a coaster bus is 30 passengers. So maximum for taxi is 15, maximum for coaster is 30. The number of taxis will be greater than the number of coaster buses. The number of taxis will be less than 5. The cost of hiring a taxi is shillings 60,000, while that of the coaster is shillings 100,000. There is only shillings 600,000 available. Part A. If X represents the number of taxis and Y represents the number of coaster buses, write 6 inequalities for the given information. So let us start with this part A, which has 5 marks, so that we can see how we can get those 5 marks. So let us start. First of all, shall come here and read. We know that now X represents number of taxis and Y represents number of buses. So let's go back to our question. A school has organized that. Now there are 90 students. 2 types of vehicles are needed, taxis and coasters. Now let's start from here. The maximum capacity of the taxi is 15 passengers, while that of the coaster bus is 30 passengers. So a taxi carries 15 and a coaster bus carries 30. But remember, the total is 90 students. What does that mean? So this means that 15x plus 30y is greater than or equal to 90. Remember we said this is the total of the students, and this is the number of passengers each taxi can carry, and 30 is the number of passengers each bus can carry. So when you add, the total should be greater than or equal to 90. Therefore we can reduce it to come up with, if I reduce by 15, I'll come up with x plus 2y greater than or equal to 6. So this is one equation. Let us see another equation. Now another equation will be got from, now here they said the number of taxis will be greater than the number of coasters. Remember, taxis is x and coasters is y. What does that mean? It means that x is greater than y. Now this is our second equation. Now let's go to the third one. Third one, they told us the number of taxis will be less than 5. Remember, x is the number of taxis, therefore x will be less than 5. This is where the third equation is coming from. Now the fourth equation says, here they told us that the cost of hiring a taxi is shillings 60,000, while that of the coaster is shillings 100,000. Then they told us that there is only 600,000 shillings available. So know that word. So this 60,000 corresponds to x, now the 100,000 corresponds to y, but there is only 600,000 shillings available. What does that mean? It means that 60,000 x plus 100,000 y is less or equal to 600,000. When we reduce, we shall come up with 3x plus 5y less or equal to 30. Now next now this is logic, because we know that the number of buses can never be negative, and also the number of taxis can never be negative. Therefore the fifth equation will be x is greater than or equal to 0. There is either no bus or either no taxi, or there is some taxi. That's why there is x is greater than or equal to 0. Then the last one is y is greater than or equal to 0. There is either no coaster bus or there is some coaster bus. Now let's see how marking can be done. So in this case, this first equation, that's where the m1 comes from. This is where the m1 comes from. Another m1 is there, another m1 is there. Now for this part, you may either leave it like this or you reduce, though it is advisable to reduce so that when you are plotting it, it becomes easier. Now both these ones will be joined because they are all got from logic to come up with that last mark, which is, so now we have got our 5 marks. Let us go to the next part. So part B said, represent the inequalities on a graph paper by shading the unwanted regions. Note that word, unwanted regions. And here, good enough, they gave us the scale that 2 centimeters represents 1 unit on both axes. Now let's see how that is done. So previously, these are the inequalities we have. Now these inequalities, for you, when you are plotting on the graph, you don't use the equations with inequalities. What you do, you use border lines. We call them border lines. So where there is an inequality, you put there an equal sign. So x greater than or equal to 0 will become, we shall plot x equal to 0. Then y greater than or equal to 0, we shall plot y equal to 0. X less than 5, we shall plot x equal to 5. X greater than or equal greater than y, we shall plot y equal to x. And x plus 2y greater than or equal to 6, we shall plot x plus 2y equal to 6. And 3x plus 5y less than or equal to 30, we shall plot 3x plus 5y equal to 30. Now for these ones it is okay, but for this one we have to get some 2 points, because a straight line is drawn by joining any 2 points. Now for this y equal to x, we have these points 0, 0 and 4, 4. Then x plus 2y equal to 6 shall use these points 0, 3 and 6, 0. This line 3x plus 5y equal to 30 shall use points 0, 6 and 5, 3. So let us start. First of all, you must be having your graph paper and you draw the axes and label them. So that is always the first thing. Draw the axes using a long ruler and label them. Next is to demarcate. So that is demarcating the horizontal x-axis. Do the same for the vertical axis. So after that, we shall now start drawing. First of all, we shall draw the line x equal to 0 is x equal to 0 and y equal to 0. X equal to 0 is the y-axis and y equal to 0 is the x-axis. Therefore, those ones are already sorted. We are going to start from here, x equal to 5. So x equal to 5, we shall draw it. But before you draw, you have to first label our demarcations. Remember, they told us that 2 centimeters represent 1 unit. That's why you are saying keeping 2 centimeters on the horizontal, but they said it is for both axes. So you also do the same for the vertical axis. So you skip 2 intervals of 2 centimeters. After that, we have to draw our line of x equal to 5. So x equal to 5, that is the line. It is dotted because in this inequality we have x less than. So each time you have less than or greater than, just less than or just greater than, it means your line will be dotted. So this inequality is x less than 5, meaning this borderline will be a dotted line. So that is why it is dotted. Next, we are going to draw y equal to x, but I think you see this inequality is greater than, so meaning this line will also be dotted. So let's draw that line. So I think you can see it is also dotted. So next we'll be drawing the line x plus 2y equal to 6, but this line is now not dotted, it's full line, and we shall use points 0, 3 and 6, 0. So let's do it. So those are the points and that is the line. It is full, it is not dotted, you should note that. Okay, we have already finished drawing that. Now next we will be drawing the line 3x plus 5y equal to 30, and shall use points 0, 6 and 5, 3. Let's do it. Okay, so those are the lines, and I believe that was your part B, where they wanted you to represent the inequalities on the paper by shading. Okay, they also wanted you to shade the unwanted region. So let's start shading the unwanted regions. So first of all, we are going to start by shading this x is greater than or equal to 0. Now, how do you shade? For example, x greater than or equal to 0, we are using borderline x equal to 0, which is the y-axis. Now, for you to shade, you look for a point which is either this side or this side of the line. So let's choose the point which is this side, and let that point be 1, 0. So if we have 1, 0, we are going to come and substitute now in that inequality. So we have the inequality x greater than or equal to 0. So it means that x equal to 1. So when you put 1, it will be 1 greater than or equal to 0. And you ask yourself, is it true that 1 is greater than or equal to 0? It is true. Now, because it is true, it means that where you got that point from is the wanted region. Therefore, when you are shading, you are going to shade the opposite of that. So I'm going to shade this side. Okay. Now next will be plotting, shading y greater than or equal to 0. So y greater than or equal to 0. This is the line y equal to 0. Therefore, we choose the point either this side or this side. Let's choose the point this side and let it be 0, 1. When we choose 0, 1, we shall come here and say, using 0, 1 for y greater than or equal to 0, we are going to put 1 here where there is y, and get this. It is also true, meaning where you got that point from is the wanted region. Therefore, the unwanted is this side. So let's shade that side like that. Okay. Now next will be shading this line x equal to x is less than or less than 5. Now for this line, we shall come here and say, first of all, this is the line x equal to 5. So you choose a point either this side or this side. Now if I choose the point this side, I can choose 0, 0. And when I choose 0, 0, I'm going to come here and say, okay, let me choose 1, 0. 1 0, it means that your x is 1, therefore 1 will be equal less than 5. Is it true? It is true. What does that mean? It means that where you got that point from is the wanted region, therefore this is the unwanted, so I'm going to shade that part. Okay, so now next will be, we have finished this, now we are going to x is greater than y. So for x greater than y, it is given by this one, x equal to y. Therefore you choose a point either this side or this side. If I choose the point this side, I can choose 1 0, and when I choose 1 0 for x greater than y, I'll come and substitute x is 1, y is 0. Is it true? It is true, meaning where I got that point from is the wanted part, therefore this part is the unwanted, so I'm going to shade that part. Okay, so now next we shall come and say, I'll finish with this. I'm going to this line. For this line, I'll come and this line is x plus 2y equal to 6. So x plus 2y equal to 6, this is the line, and let us see, I can choose a point this side or this side. Let me choose a point this side, and it can be 0 0. Let me say use 0 0. So if I use 0 0, I'll come and substitute where there is x I put 0, where there is y I put 0. Therefore I come up with 0 is greater than or equal to 6. I then consider that this is false, meaning where I got that point from is the unwanted region. Therefore I'll come and say this, I've got this point here, meaning this is the unwanted region, so I'll shade that part. Okay, now lastly we shall shade this part, this line. So for this line, it will be, it is this one, so I can choose a point this side or this side. Let me choose this side, and I'll choose 0 0, which is easier to use. So if I choose 0 0, I'll come up with 0 is less than or equal to 30. Is this true? Yes. If it is true, it means where you got that point from is the required part, so the unwanted part is this side, so let us shade that part. Okay, I believe now we have finished part B, and with that we have got our 4 marks. Next is to look for these 3 marks. They said, find from your graph the number of taxis and coasters buses which are full to capacity that must be ordered so that all the students are transported. So before you get that, you have to look for what we call feasible point. This is the feasible region, so we're going to look for points inside along these border lines or inside these border lines, but they should be for integer coordinates. So for example, if I look at 2, there is 2 2. Then if I look at 3, there is this one, it can't work, but there's this 3 2 works, and also 3 3 works. If I look at 4, there is 4 1, and there is also 4 2, and there is also 4 3, but 4 4 is outside the range. So when I go to 5, there is this is not okay, but this one, there is 5 1, which is okay, 5 2, and 5 3. So those are the points, and I'm going to list them down. So the possible number of taxis and coasters will be that. Now let's see how we use these points, but before that, let's first see the marks got on this slide. So correct line, this M1 is for this line, x equal to that. Then this one is for the line this, and this one is with the correct shading. This one is for the line that with correct shading. This one is for the line this with correct shading, and this B2 is for listing all these points. So those are the possible number of taxis and coaster buses we saw in the previous graph, and how we are going to use it, we are going to have to get our output. Now remember, here they said each taxi carries 15 passengers and each coaster bus carries 30. So 15 times x, which is the number of taxis, plus 30 times y, which is the number of coaster buses, will give you our output, which is that. Next, we are going to draw a table having all these points here with 15x, which is that, and 30y, which is that, and the output. Now 15x means where there is x, you put there these x values, and for 30y means where there is y, you put there the y values to get these values. For example, 15 times 3 will give you 45, 15 times 4 will give you 60, 15 times 5 will give you 75, like that. Similarly, 30 times 2 will give you 60, 30 times 3 will give you 90, 30 times 1 will give you 30, and so on. Now the output is got by summing up. When you sum up, you will come up with these values as the output. But remember, our question said, find from your graph the number of taxis and coaster buses which are full to capacity that must be ordered so that all the students are transported. Now remember, there are 90 students, so what you're going to do, you are going to look for an output of 90, and this is the output of 90. What are the corresponding values of x and y? It's 4 and 1. So x means taxis, y means coaster buses. Therefore, you'll come here and conclude that 4 taxis and 1 coaster buses must be ordered. Now let's see how marking can be done. So in this case, we know that the output, so the whole of this column for output is that M1, and this one is the conclusion. So that's how you can get all the 12 marks in that question of 17. I believe you have marked yourself and checked your progress. So now I'm going to leave you with 5 questions which are for section A, and these questions are for math paper 2, Olevel math paper 2, for the UNEB of 2019. So that brings us the end of this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel for more updates on the video that will be uploaded. Otherwise, the solution to these questions I've left you with as an assignment will be available in my next video. So keep subscribe by clicking that button below this video, subscribe button below this video, so that you can be updated on any upload, so that when I release the video you'll be able to see it. And please share it with your friends if it has been good to you, so that we all benefit as a family.